Hello and welcome to another video in this series that I'm calling The Thing. Yes, in case you didn't see my last video, I'm trying to explore my own burnout and why it's happening. The thing is this presence behind me, which is a collection of everything that is wrong with me right now. And I'm going to try and define that thing. My first theory was that this thing is a collection of my insecurities. That was the last video. In case you haven't seen it, I'll link it below. But of course, that's just one theory. It can be many other things. So here is my next theory. Theory number two, the thing behind me is my feeling of uncertainty. Let me tell you why. A bit of background first. I grew up in a middle class joint family setting in this wonderful city called Nagpur. Growing up, I have seen everyone chase one thing and one thing only: stability, also known as certainty. As a kid, I saw that every adult is weirdly obsessed with having a very predictable life. Everything had to be planned, and they did not like surprises. Careers had to be meticulously planned out, and that a path would be laid out for future generations to follow, and that path must be followed. I tried to do that, but failed. Many times, many times. From the age of 17 to 21, I was massively depressed, and I had many thoughts of, self harm also. Yeah, it actually took me a while to realize why. Actually, it took me a while to realize that I was actually depressed because I didn't have the vocabulary to define my own problem back then. It was a weird time. Yeah. Anyway, in school, kids were pushed to achieve greatness, more marks, admissions in good colleges. IIT jana hai, IIM jana hai. People used to start preparing at the age of whatever 12 to get into like an IIT. Oh, you know how it works. Everyone in India who grew up in the 90s had to go through a version of this. Now that I think back, it's almost strange how everyone around me seemed to believe that life can be predictable. I mean, why would you make plans otherwise, right? They had this innate belief that plans will work out. They do work out. That if you work hard enough and follow a tried and tested path which one of your cousins had already followed, then this you would succeed. Yeah, succeed. Okay, pause. Let me try to sort of tell you what success actually means here. I think it's important. I've thought about it long and hard for a few years and tried to boil it down to something that is understandable. Just one thing. What is success? And the answer, according to me, success means surviving, but better than everybody else around you. Yeah, just process that. Success means surviving, sure, but better than everybody else around you. How does one do that? Well, by surrounding yourself with things, gaining the respect of everyone around you, hmm, starting a family, producing children, and then making sure that everyone in that family also follows the path towards success, which is surviving but better than everybody else. If you are someone who grew up in India during this time, which is the 90s, think back, just think back. Did you have a feeling that there was a plan in place for you, for your whole family? I remember that my parents weren't that well off, so they were worried about paying rent and groceries. They had a month to month existence, but they would dream of having a year to year existence or a decade to decade existence. They wanted a life which was certain for longer periods of time, that it was predictable for longer periods of time. Why is that question? Why did they feel like that? Because surprises honestly are not happy ones most of the time. One health crisis and a month to month existence or plan can become like a week to week existence, or worse, a day to day existence. So when a health crisis happens, your bank accounts suddenly start emptying out at an alarming rate, and you have no idea where the money is going. So then you start scrambling. Basically, you beg, borrow, or steal during that time, and it is not a great period. It's scary. Surprises are bad. My parents have gone through some of these nightmare scenarios. I was a kid, so I didn't really understand what they were going through, but now I do. I'm sure yours must have as well. And because they had horrible experiences themselves, they didn't want the same for me and my sister. But what happens when you refuse to believe what they believe? What happens when you literally reject their idea of success and go trying to find your own? When you decide that you will live a life where every day can be a surprise, good or bad, doesn't matter. Good or bad is also, I guess, subjective at this point, but you will get a surprise every day, every single day. What happens when you try to live a life where you fully embrace this feeling of randomness, chaos, and uncertainty? So, in my early 20s, that's what I kind of did. Yeah. I ran away from home and their idea of success as well. I started to believe that living a day to day existence is actually better than hoping for stability. So I worked with MPs in different states, and my entire world could fit into a rucksack. I was traveling all the time. I was pushing myself into very random environments where wild things were happening all the time. There were many surprises. I started to hate planning long term. I got addicted to this sort of chaos, I guess. And I kind of still am. Yeah, I am. Now that I think back, it was almost like an act of rebellion against the world that was so obsessed with long term planning and stability. It was my own little revolution that I was doing for God knows what reason. So I used to tell myself and whoever was listening that I don't know where I will be next week. The jobs that I did were not formal. I worked with politicians who also thrived in this sort of chaos. They lived a life of uncertainty as well, but they developed a thick skin to weather any storm that comes their way. So these early years of my working life, which is most of my 20s, did something to me. Yeah, it made me hate stability. Weirdly enough, I became so obsessed with the idea of living a random, chaotic, and unstable life that I started to hate planning for the future. Yeah, I know it might sound a little weird, but that's what happened. Yeah, I'm realizing it now. That's what happened. And now in my mid 30s, I'm realizing something else. This turned me into an extremely unstable and flaky individual. The moment anything I started to resemble a job, anything I was doing, if it started to look like a routine or it became stable, I panicked and quit. Yeah, and then on top of it, I started to believe that the ability to quit is actually a virtue which I should embrace. I became obsessed with having these random ass adventures and throwing myself into uncomfortable situations because I could not hold on to a job. It was almost like I had started to hate feeling comfortable. I fell in love with discomfort and uncertainty. So right now in my mid 30s, my friends around me either already have kids or are having kids or are thinking about having kids. They are now in a phase of life when stability actually becomes an end goal. Just like my parents were 30 years ago, and so were yours, I think, turning mouth to mouth existence into a decade to decade existence. So it brings up a big question for me, all of this. Should I do that as well? Should I now start hoping for a stable life? You know what? When I say this out loud, this question, should I aim for a stable life? Even when I said it right now, something inside me starts screaming. It makes me nauseous. It as if at my very core of being, it is being punched in the gut, and it is being attacked. So I've kind of come to the conclusion right now that I cannot live a stable life anymore. I I just I can't. Is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? Honestly, I don't know. This is not a solution video, nor was the last one, nor was the one before that. This is just an exploration video. I'm not going to force myself to decide anything right now. All I'm going to do is try to put myself in an extremely uncertain situation again, like I did in my 20s, and see what happened. See what happens. Hello again. So, all of the things that you saw before, I had written them down like 5 days ago. Yeah, before I left on a wild, wild adventure. The sad thing is, and I know this is sad, that when I experienced this feeling of burnout and absolute, I don't know, sadness about 10 days ago, my brain was like, listen, you can't continue to feel like this. You need to give yourself a deadline. There was a deadline to this sadness. My brain made me go on a trip even before my sadness hit. Yeah, and that's what you saw. Yeah, so I went on a wild, wild adventure. This all of this that you saw, like glimpses of it, happened in the last 3 days. I'm back now, and holy mother of God, I have so much to tell you. Seriously, I have so much to tell you. I have 5.5 hours of footage right now to sort through interviews, random nonsense moments, and I have to edit it and turn it into the best video this channel has ever seen. Oh my God, I'm putting pressure on myself. When will that happen? I have no clue. I'm embracing uncertainty again. And maybe you should try it. If you're feeling like me right now, hopeless and weird, maybe try to embrace some uncertainty because I don't know, maybe it helped. Maybe. We'll see. Until next time. Goodbye.